Hello, and welcome to today's webcast on Alteryx and Tableau. My name is Ceneviva, and I'm joined by my colleague, Alli Hogan. Alli and I are both business intelligence and analytics consultants here at Thorogood, and we've drawn on our experience and expertise with both Alteryx and Tableau to bring you today's presentation. Feel free to get in touch with us via our contact details on the screen if you wish to have a longer discussion about today's topic. For today's webcast, we will start by introducing both the Alteryx and Tableau product suites. From there, we will showcase the data preparation, advanced analytics, and spatial analysis features available within Alteryx and the powerful visualization capabilities of Tableau. Combined, these features can provide the full self-service analytics experience. We'll conclude by exploring some of the enterprise considerations for getting started with Alteryx and Tableau. So we'll get started by introducing Thorogood. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with Thorogood, we're an independent professional services consulting firm specializing in business intelligence and analytics solutions. We've been delivering value in this space for over 25 years. We operate as a single organization, serving our customers globally and often working in leveraged teams across our offices in New York, Philadelphia, London, Bangalore, and Singapore. All of our consultants are recruited and trained in the same way to develop a unique mix of business understanding, technical excellence, and analytical ability. We provide a full range of services to support your business goals, covering the end-to-end cycle of any project from initial strategy and roadmap definitions to requirements gathering, design and implementation of complex systems, through to training and support of business users. We also provide ongoing data or analytics services, as well as planning and business modeling solutions. Our clients typically span 4 data-rich verticals: consumer goods, pharmaceutical and life sciences, banking, and insurance. Our clients are some of the leading organizations in these sectors, and we take a lot of pride in the long-standing relationships we have fostered with some of the names you see here. Our clients are large, complex businesses, and we rely on our thorough business understanding and deep technical expertise to deliver successful solutions to their business challenges. We are independent in that we don't align with a single technology vendor. Instead, we work with a wide array of technology firms in the business intelligence market, including back-end, front-end, and analytics-driven technologies. With this independence, we're able to develop well-rounded expertise that allows us to help our clients integrate across platforms successfully, such as Alteryx and Tableau. While we work with all of these technologies and many more, we do also partner with a variety of these technologies, as you can see by the logos. Before taking a deeper dive into Alteryx and Tableau, let's quickly talk about our partnerships with both companies. So Thorogood is an Alteryx preferred partner. We have global implementation experience with helping organizations use Alteryx to bring data preparation, data blending, and advanced analytics capabilities to their analysts. Beyond Alteryx, we have extensive experience working with common data preparation tools and vast analytics experience. Our Tableau practice and partnership was initiated in 2012. Since that time, we established Thorogood as a member of Tableau's Partner Advocacy Board, a strategic alliance partner in Tableau's Alliance Program, and we were named Tableau Partner of the Year in the EMEA region. We have over 85 consultants with Tableau development and delivery experience, including its integration with other technologies such as Alteryx, Salesforce, and Teradata. In addition to providing consulting services for both Alteryx and Tableau, we act as a reseller of licenses. So if you're interested in working out what sort of license agreement would be best for your organization, please don't hesitate to reach out to us, and we would be happy to help. And with that, I will hand it over to Alli to introduce Alteryx and Tableau.
Thanks, Nick. So I'll start with an introduction to Alteryx, either as a crash course for those of you new to the technologies or as a refresher for others. Alteryx Designer is your toolbox for creating workflows to load and transform data on your desktop. There are a variety of out-of-the-box and custom tools that can be combined into a single workflow. Once the workflow is completed, you can analyze these data sources within Alteryx itself or export the data into other reporting or database tools. Then, to share your packages with others, you would use Alteryx Server, a web-based platform that allows you to schedule and publish your workflow for sharing with others in your organization. The server architecture scales for additional processing power, administration, and monitoring. In addition, Alteryx offers Analytics Gallery, which leverages the power of the cloud to allow you to publish, iterate, and update analytics applications either within your organization or in the public domain. Finally, Alteryx has their own data sets available for purchase, including census data, geospatial data, and consumer marketing data. We'll show demos using Alteryx Designer during today's session, but please reach out if you would like more information on some of the other offerings that are available from Alteryx. Tableau development really starts with Tableau Desktop, the program that sits on your computer to allow you to connect to and visualize your data. From there, you'll want to distribute your created report, which is where Tableau Server comes in. It's a web-based platform viewable within your browser. Multiple Tableau workbooks can be published within this platform and shared with hundreds or thousands of users to enable enterprise collaboration. Additionally, from an enterprise governance perspective, you can have IT-supported data sources published onto Server, allowing users to leverage those data sources for their own analysis. There's also Tableau Online, which is essentially the same thing as Tableau Server from an end-user interface perspective. You're still allowing users to access published reports and data sources within their browser. The only difference between Server and Online is its underlying infrastructure setup and service model. Tableau Online is hosted and maintained by Tableau themselves as a software as a service available as a subscription, whereas Tableau Server is under your control. Tableau is always releasing updates and new versions of software with enhanced features. In Tableau 10.3, we're excited about Tableau Bridge, which will allow users to connect live to on-premise databases from Tableau Online to facilitate a true hybrid data architecture. Finally, there are other products such as Tableau Public and Tableau Reader, but we'll be looking to focus on the first three in today's presentation. If you're interested in Public or Reader, please reach out to us separately. While Alteryx and Tableau are powerful tools individually, we think there are a number of reasons why the tools complement each other so well. A number of our customers value Tableau for its unparalleled visualization options, but struggle with structuring their data appropriately. This is where Alteryx fits in. It gives end users the power to combine and transform their data specifically for their unique reporting and analytics needs. We'll take some time today to share 3 scenarios where users can leverage this powerful pairing. First, an analyst can use Alteryx to combine data from multiple sources and connect to the data source in Tableau for self-service reporting without a heavy reliance upon IT. Second, it's easy to create and collaborate on advanced analytics models with R using drag-and-drop functionality in Alteryx and visualizing the results in Tableau. And third, spatial transformations can be easily performed in Alteryx and combined with Tableau's powerful mapping visualizations for some geography analysis. Now we'll jump into the demo section and showcase some scenarios for combining Alteryx and Tableau. The first demo will give you a sense of the powerful pairing that we can use to create an application for a market intelligence business case. In this example, I'm an analyst at a pharmaceutical company responsible for increasing our sales and market share compared to our main competitors. I'd like to compare my company's sales figures to our competition to highlight markets and products where we are leading and have an opportunity for increased growth. My company is investigating a number of leading market sources such as IRI, Nielsen, and IMS. In addition, there are some smaller random data sets that I found online that might be useful as a comparison point as well. Before investing in a robust end-to-end database solution, I'd like to assess the value of these data sources and do some quick analytics to share my findings with my teammates. Before we get into the demo, I wanted to show a high-level overview of the architecture, and then we'll come back and dive into the specifics. First, I'll use Alteryx to combine market data with my company's internal sales data. Once the data is prepared, the source will be published online to Tableau Server, which will allow for multiple people to connect to the source and create their own dashboards in Tableau Desktop. Now, I'll jump into the demo and start with Alteryx Designer. Here I can see I have a number of different tools at the top of my screen, such as input and output, data preparation, data joins and transformations, as well as some additional tools for predictive R and A/B testing. In this workflow, I can see I have a number of different steps starting on the left here with my connection to my enterprise data warehouse. I can see I have two input tools where I'm bringing in my internal fact sales table and my product dimension. I'm doing a few transformations, joining them together using this tool here, and then eventually publishing this online to Tableau server. I can see to publish this data source to Tableau server, so as easy as entering my site URL and adding my credentials, and the data source will be published for other people to share. I've just received a new external file that I want to join with my internal data, so I'll use this input data tool, drag this on here, and browse to the file location. I'll make sure I select the appropriate sheet. And now over here on the left, I can see a preview of my data. I can see I have SKU number, SKU name, molecule, state, month, my sales quantity and my sales value, which will be my two main measures, and then brand and company ID. First, I'd like to do a little bit of cleanup and update these columns so that they're not all uppercase. I'll use the data cleansing tool for this and select all my dimension names. And I have a few options here in terms of cleaning up the data. In this example, I'll just modify the case to be title case. By looking at this data source, I'm looking at my brand column, and I can see that this really is a combination of brand and company name. As with some external data files, there might be some manipulation that I need to do to align this to my internal data and make the reporting dashboards that I'd like. In this example, I want to parse this brand column at the dash, so I'll use the formula tool here. And here I have a number of different options. I can either overwrite one of the existing columns or add a new column and then write an expression for that column. In this example, I know that my company name is the right characters of my brand column, so I will type that in now. In addition, I want to update the brand column itself to remove that company name, so it really is just the brand name. And I know that that's everything on the left side of the brand column after the dash. Finally, you can see that I've added this internal flag to my enterprise data and flag that as internal flag as yes to highlight the data source. I'd like to add that same column for this external data so that I can use that for my reporting. So I will add a new column called internal flag and set this equal to no. And this will help me keep track of the data source for my reporting. Finally, now that I have the same columns in my internal data and external data, I can use the union tool, and I'll link this up here, and then link this to my tool that will publish to Tableau server. I can run this workflow, and I can see the progress throughout on the main pane here by these green boxes. And then there are some results here at the bottom. The workflow will give me some warnings, but we can ignore them in this example. And with this workflow, I'm able to create a Tableau data extract, or a TDE, which publishes directly on Tableau server. By leveraging both Alteryx and Tableau server, a number of my users in my organization can connect to this same data source within Tableau Desktop, so I'll jump over to that now. I can see my data source is updated here, and I'll go to a sheet to begin my analysis. Here I can see I have a number of my dimensions and measures on the right side of the screen, and Tableau will automatically try to categorize things based on their data type. I know that the company ID is a dimension, so I'll quickly convert that to a dimension, and similarly for the SKU number. I can use the rows and columns here to drag and drop my dimensions and measures and quickly create some visualizations in Tableau Desktop. I'd like to start just by looking at my sales value by brand. So I'll drag sales value onto the columns and brand onto the rows. I can quickly sort this so that I can see my top brands, and I'll use that internal flag as the color. Now I can very easily see that the orange bars represent our company's brands and that we have the brand with the leading amount of sales, but there are two competing brands that are right behind us. I'd like to do a bit more analysis by geography, so I'll create a new sheet, and I'll still look at my sales value by state here. And I'll sort this descending to see my top markets and use the internal flag to color the sales. Now I can see our relative amount of sales within the top markets, but I'd like to look at this as a percentage as well. I can do this pretty quickly using a table calculation in Tableau. So I'll drag on sales value again and add a quick table calculation where I'm calculating the percent of total. And I'll compute this using table across. So now I have the percentage of my market share within this given state, and I can see that for one of the leading markets, our market share is about 25%, whereas we have a higher market share in some other markets. This might be a good area where we can improve our market share and increase our sales value and overall profit from this large market. Finally, I'd like to do some exploratory analysis based on the price of our products compared to our competitors. I'll open up a new sheet here. And while price is not a column that's available in my data source, we do have sales volume and sales value. So I can create a quick scatter plot. I'll drag my two measures onto the columns and the rows. I'll drag brand onto the level of detail and use that same internal flag to color the brand. Now I can see that one of our leading brands has a relatively low sales value, but we're selling a lot of this brand. This might be an example where we can increase the price of this particular brand and make a bit more margins on those same volume. In addition, I can see some other outliers. So two of our competitors have brands that are selling at pretty high margins, so a lot of value, but a relatively low quantity. This might be an area where we can offer a low-cost alternative and eat into some of their market shares. Now we'll switch back to the slides and walk through the architecture in a bit more detail. So here's just a schematic diagram of where we started on the left with our internal and external data sources, and use the tools in Alteryx to prepare and blend the data together and publish into a single table that was published on Tableau server. Then I connected to the shared data source in Tableau Desktop and created some simple and powerful visualizations to prove the value of this data source to my teammates. By leveraging the shared data set and self-service visualizations, I'm able to help explore this data source and share my findings with my boss. And this is just one example of an architecture that combines Alteryx Designer, Tableau Server, and Tableau Desktop. I'll pass it back to Nick to demonstrate some additional use cases of Tableau and Alteryx for advanced analytics and spatial transformations.
Thanks, Alli. So as Alli mentioned, we're going to take a look at some of the advanced analytic capabilities available within Alteryx. But before doing so, I think it's important to touch on our analytic project approach and how Alteryx and Tableau come into play. Our approach to analytics is based on the cross-industry standard process for data mining. Like our general approach to business intelligence, it is focused on locking onto the business goals and pairing these goals with technical possibilities to drive business value. The process starts by leveraging business understanding to identify questions that may be difficult to answer today, but could provide value to the business while simultaneously considering how data can be leveraged to answer those questions. Once you've identified the data that can support your business questions, there's more than likely an element of data preparation that is required to combine the various data elements you've identified before building out your analytical model. Alteryx simplifies the data preparation and analytic modeling while providing the ability to view your data at all points in the workflow to make sure you're receiving the expected output. You will then need to evaluate the results of the model, which can easily be accomplished with Tableau. You may determine that you don't in fact have all of the right data to perform your analysis, which would lead you back to needing to evaluate your original question or investigate where to get more data. Like many of our customers, you will run through this iteration many times until you have something that provides value. After these iterations, you may come up with a model that provides insights you want to share wider or run with some regularity. At this point, you could look to deploy your model to Alteryx Server for repeated use and analysis, and then visualize and share the model using Tableau Online or Tableau Server. Now that we've seen how Alteryx and Tableau fit into Thorogood's approach to analytics projects, let's take a closer look at an employee attrition analysis. For this use case, I'm an HR analyst. My department has recently started to take a more in-depth look at employee turnover and causes of employee attrition, focusing on trying to quantify this information and make more data-driven decisions with managing our employees. We already have access to employee information that will be useful for this analysis, such as years of experience and pay. With the goal of becoming a more data-driven organization, we've begun conducting annual employee surveys, asking questions surrounding work-life balance, job satisfaction, and a couple other areas. We've then paired this data with the employment data that the company already has and enriched it even further by tracking attrition, specifically whether or not an employee leaves the company within 1 year of taking the survey. We've collected this data for all of 2016, and our 2017 survey results have just been compiled. But in order to make the best decisions around our employees for this year, we really need to predict employee attrition. So to answer this question, I'm going to use Alteryx to build a logistic regression model using that attrition data. I will then use this model to predict the employee attrition, and the output will be published to Tableau Server for visualizing the data and sharing across the HR department to gain employment insights. So in Alteryx, we have this workflow that's doing exactly what I just described. As Alli called out earlier, along the top hand, we do have the ribbons with the different tools available. And what we're focusing on here is the predictive tools. All of these tools leverage R to perform some sort of statistic analysis. Specifically for this demonstration, we're going to look at the logistic regression model, the stepwise, and then the scoring tool. So in this workflow, I have my 2016 data with my attrition that comes in the workflow. We do a little bit of cleanup, and it goes into the logistic regression model to determine the attrition. So I open that up. You see there's no coding needed. It's got this user-guided interface where we select our target variable, which in this case is attrition, and then we select of the fields we have available which ones we want to pass through. So we know some of these, such as the employee count and the employee number, are going to be the same across all our employees or unique to a different employee. So there's no need to pass these variables through, which is why they're unselected. From there, it goes into the stepwise function, which determines the best predictor variables to include in our model. While the stepwise function comes pre-built in Alteryx, I could use more modern methods of selecting the variables by using the R custom script tool, which we do use here to extract the regression results. In this tool, I'm able to write whatever R code I would like, if you do have experience in that area. So once I have my model selected, now I want to use that model to predict the attrition for using our 2017 data. And we can do this by using the score tool. Basically, we pass our model to that and our new data to predict, and that's outputted as a result of this tool. So if we click here, we can see we have our input data, and at the very end, we have a score from 0 to 1, with 1 being very high probability of leaving and 0 being very low probability. To get this more to a, is this person likely to leave or not to leave, we can round this based on that score, where if it's above 0.5, we'll assume they're going to leave, so we do that here. And finally, we publish this to Tableau server, where all the members of my HR department can use this data set for form analysis. So if we jump over to that, we have a dashboard that we already created. This dashboard has key KPIs for projected attrition, broken out by department and job role. We have the drivers of attrition and a couple other visualizations here. So while this dashboard not only allows me to gain valuable insights into our attrition model, it allows different members of the HR department to slice the data in whatever way best suits their needs. So the HR manager of the sales team can filter just the sales representatives, identify which employees are most at risk of leaving, see the projected amount of attrition, and the same could be done maybe for the entire research and development department if that was the department I was interested in. So all of this information, along with looking at the key drivers of attrition, can be used to figure out a strategy for decreasing the employee turnover. So as we saw in Alteryx, we were able to predict the employee attrition through a user-guided interface that allowed us to configure what data was passed to the tools. Alteryx removes the need for analysts to have experience in coding. And once this model was created, we were able to publish to Tableau server, so the entire HR department is able to analyze the data without the need to send around spreadsheets or PowerPoints or any other sort of visualization, and can spend more time diving deeper into certain aspects of the data that is most relevant to them. While this demo looked at employee attrition, the possibilities of using Alteryx and Tableau in this manner are endless. You could do a very similar analysis to predict the effectiveness of a promotion within a loyalty program, predict the likelihood of someone you are insuring not renewing their policy, or even identify machines within your manufacturing plant that are at risk for failure and preventively address this issue. So another key differentiator of Alteryx and Tableau, for that matter, is the spatial analysis that's available within Alteryx and the mapping visualizations within Tableau. So we're going to highlight those through this use case, which is I work for a health insurance company. I insure a large number of New York City residents, and there's a standard that basically requires all subscribers to live within a 10-minute walking distance to a pharmacy that is in-network, or they're able to file a grievance. My boss has asked me to identify the compliant and non-compliant subscriber households so that we're able to know where we are at risk for grievance and to analyze what pharmacies could be brought into our network to make more subscriber household compliance. Before we used Alteryx, this was a difficult task just because we didn't have the spatial and geographic capabilities available within these two tools. So I'm going to use Alteryx to map the distance between our subscriber households and pharmacies, determine whether or not a household is compliant or non-compliant based on the walking distance to the nearest in-network pharmacy. And from there, I'll publish results to a TDE to visualize the subscriber households and pharmacies. We jump back over to Alteryx. You'll see we have a much more complex data flow than we've been building out. We won't walk through each step of this, but I think one important thing to notice is that there are documentation features available within Alteryx, so these containers or comments that provide a lot of value, whether it's organizing your steps using these containers, so this one's creating pharmacy spatial points, or you're adding comments that'll make it easier for someone else to pick up your workflow and have a sense of what you're doing without having to go into each and every step to truly understand the workflow. So I'll just highlight a couple of the key features and tools that we're using here. So the first step is creating geometric points. So we have longitude and latitude data that we're parsing out and creating those points that'll be the basis of using other spatial analytics tools within Alteryx to determine the nearest pharmacy and the walking distance. So that's what's done in these light green containers. From there, we use this Find Nearest tool that'll find the nearest pharmacy located to a subscriber household, and then we can also find the nearest in-network pharmacy. We join this data back together, and from there we calculate the walking distance, because really what we want to know is that if a subscriber household is within 10 minutes of walking distance to the nearest in-network pharmacy, they're compliant, and if it's greater than 10 minutes, they're not compliant. The final steps are doing some of those checks, and finally we output to a TDE, which is a native feature of Alteryx, and we can easily connect to that TDE within Tableau and perform our analysis. And the reason we're using a TDE here as opposed to publishing to Tableau server as we did in the first two use cases is that this is a use case that we do only once a year as we're determining our in-network pharmacies. So there's not a need to publish to server. It's not going to be widely spread. We don't have to worry about one version of the truth or anything like that, making this a good use case for publishing to a TDE. So using that TDE, we built out this dashboard that really utilizes the mapping capabilities of Tableau. So we're able to see our pharmacies are the circles, and we have our subscribers. If they're green, this means that they are in compliance, they're within 10 minutes walking distance. Red are the households that are not in compliance, and yellows are ones that are currently not compliant but could be compliant if we added a pharmacy to in-network. So for instance, we have this household right here. They're not currently in range, but they could be if we added a in-network pharmacy such as this. I have a couple of other visualizations, but really it's these mapping capabilities that allows us to get to a pretty detailed view of New York City, have a sense of the locations that further enhances Alteryx spatial analytics. So as you saw, in Alteryx, we really use those spatial analysis features and publish to the data extract because this was more of a one-off analysis. So to conclude, we'll take a look at some of the considerations for getting started with Alteryx and Tableau, or combining both tools. These three demos that we just went through showed how the key differentiators of Alteryx complement the key differentiators of Tableau as a self-service visualization tool to provide a complete self-service experience. Alteryx's drag-and-drop interface allows for self-service data preparation to combine data from different data sources to provide a well-structured data model to create Tableau visualizations. Tableau's ability to display many data points combined with the analytical power of Alteryx not only provides self-service data analytics, but allows for collaboration on the analytical models by sharing through Tableau Server or Tableau Online. Finally, the spatial analysis tools within Alteryx are a unique feature that is tough to find in other tools. The outputs of these geospatial analyses are further enhanced by the strong mapping capabilities of Tableau. So I'm sure at this point you're all ready to get started with using both Alteryx and Tableau. There are free trials available online for both tools. I would highly recommend downloading those and starting to play with the tools, see what's possible. But beyond downloading a trial, it's important to consider a couple of different areas before getting started. The first of these are the existing tools within your organization. While there are many benefits to combining Alteryx and Tableau, what tools are currently being used for data analytics and data visualization within your organization? This is important to consider both in terms of what options are available to you, but also for determining your strategy roadmap for implementing either or both tools. It's also important to consider your collaboration story. Alteryx and Tableau offer several different tools that make collaboration possible. whether it's sharing analytical workflows through the Alteryx Gallery or sharing data sources and workbooks through Tableau Server, it's important to know what options are available within your organization. Additionally, it's important to consider who has access to different data sets. Self-service tools like Alteryx and Tableau provides users access to many different data sets for valuable insights, but it's important to make sure there are security measures in place to ensure that only the proper people have access to certain data. Further to the point of knowing what products you have available, you'll have to consider how much data you are working with. Alteryx Designer is all handled and processed on your local machine, so you might need to consider scaling up through the use of Alteryx Server. In many instances, we see our customers loving the value their Alteryx outputs provide, but they can become frustrated with the amount of time it takes to run a complex workflow. If you have Alteryx Server available, you can use this to reduce the amount of time it takes to run a workflow. Many of the decisions with regards to scalability and collaboration comes down to your organization's license agreement. Additionally, Alteryx has different data sets that are included in certain licensing agreements. And as mentioned earlier, please don't hesitate to reach out to either Alli or myself if you would like to discuss which licensing options would be best suited for your needs. Finally, it is important to ensure you have a user empowerment strategy. While choosing a business intelligence tool and the architecture around it is important, it's equally or arguably more important to have a strategy for empowering your users to utilize the tool to help drive their decision-making. Creating a self-service culture only starts with technology, but requires user training and support. If you have any questions about any of these considerations or want to discuss your strategy, please feel free to reach out to either myself or Alli. So to recap, we've demonstrated how the data preparation and analytics strengths of Alteryx combined with the powerful visualization capabilities of Tableau provide a full self-service analytics experience. This combination can reduce the time to valuable insights and encourage collaboration by sharing outputs across your organization by utilizing either Tableau Online or Tableau Server. We concluded by discussing the enterprise considerations for getting started with Alteryx and Tableau. And with that, thank you very much for joining, and have a great rest of your day.